Now, one of my very good friends, very good friends,
Just kidding with you,
Adam,
Dave. Just kidding with you.
master of esports, master. How should I call you? Master, Kung Fu King, Panda. How
No,
should I
no.
call you?
Call me Supreme Master First Class Diamond level. These are just gamer terms. No, you can also call me noob or rookie. That's cool too.
Father of dragons. How you want me
You
to
just
call
had
you?
you just had to bring the Game of Thrones up, didn't you, Alex?
Yeah, absolutely. Always. Yeah,
Oh
very bad
dear.
last season. Anyway, we are not talking
No,
Game of Thrones today. We
forget it.
are talking Counter Strike, and we are talking a very important, not so important. You said you specified also in your article is not one of the biggest events in Counter Strike. Dreamhack Tours. I mentioned a few days ago to you when we were talking on Skype that when I was young, at my 18, 20, so 20 years ago, I was playing Counter Strike with my friends. So I was saying to you that I was pressing B for two, take my favorite weapon, and go shoot some. Now, after 20 years, I see people playing for money, and most of all, I see people making money betting on this game. Incredible how far we arrived in 20 years,
Yeah.
and how many stuff will happen in the next 20 years. I think that it will be unbelievable. Tell us more about this tournament that is going on this weekend. DreamHack Tours Counter Strike Go.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like you said, it's not the biggest tournament, it's not the most hyped. The pool of teams are all kind of hovering around that maybe 10th in the best in the world to 30th. Most of them are around there. But again, the biggest tournaments, there's maybe 6 to 8 of them throughout the calendar year. So we can't be too snobby when it comes to choosing where we find betting opportunities. And I like fields like this one because there's no clear favorite. And so if we can find an edge on the form of a team coming in or on a line that sort of undervalues a dog, which is very frequent, um, we get some opportunities. So yeah, and it's
This
just a
is what
short one too. So what's that?
please continue. I wanted to ask you
Yeah,
something. I thought that you were talking about the underdogs. I thought that is also like in football when some teams are not taking some tournaments in consideration and they are going with their B side or they are not playing at their best level. This is why I wanted to ask you if
yeah.
there is a huge value on the underdog this week because if it's not an important tournament all everybody can go with the underdogs and make a profit. This is how it
Hmm.
is in football. If that big name Juventus, let's say, is playing no like it was with the Europa League, second tier competition after Champions League, Arsenal and Chelsea were going with their big squads. So because they were considering Europa League less important than Champions League. This is how it goes also in esports.
So for the best teams that get invited to loads of tournaments, yes, definitely. For the field of teams that's at this tournament in particular, like a G2 or Mouse Sports, they do get a lot of invites. So to them, it's not as big of a deal. And for the smaller teams, this is their major. This is their big tournament because we're not going to see them at Cologne or Katowice or Sydney, Dallas, all the big locations that are coming up. So that esports has that. It doesn't mean a CSGO team doesn't have substitute players where they'll put the B squad in, but we will see teams practice less for smaller tournaments. In particular, this morning actually, so I had a play on a team called Ghost, and Ghost is from the States, and it was announced this morning that one of their players got lost in transit. Not lost, but he had some
In
troubles
traffic.
traveling. and so the coach actually had to play. And thankfully, Ghost still covered my handicap bet. But looking at them tomorrow, there is almost no value on them because in a team of 5 players, if one of your players is not a professional, and even if he's played kind of near a professional level or he knows how to communicate well with the team, his aim ability and his sort of chemistry is still going to be off against a team that has all 5 players at 100%. So that was one of the plays I've looked at for tomorrow. But yeah, there is less focus on some teams coming in. Today we saw the 2 teams that looked the best. I'd say Valiance. They beat my sort of prop bet on Wendigo. They looked really good on Mirage, and then they upset Mouse Sports on Dust 2. Valiance got 2 great maps there. They won, I think, 3, if not all 4 pistol rounds, which kind of gives them an economic advantage at the beginning. And they looked really good. But again, they might be a little bit overrated going into the semifinals tomorrow. So you kind of got to take it as each matchup comes along. I can't hear you, Alex.
Okay, sorry, it was from my end. So as you said, there is in the smaller tournaments, there is huge value on the underdogs. Do you think that one of the underdogs will win the tournament, or still one of the big names will win the tournament?
Yeah. So the two how the tournament works is tomorrow morning. There's 2 favorites in Wendigo and G2 playing against a team called Instinct and Ghost. Now, Instinct, I saw this morning play, and they looked absolutely terrible. Probably the worst team here by a long stretch. So I've sort of mentally already counted them out. I've already bet against them. I took Wendigo to 2-0 them at 1.6, which is a bit chalky. It's not exactly a great price, but it's still value in my eyes because of how poor that team is compared to their opponent. The other play I took for tomorrow's match was G2 to 2-0 Ghost, and Ghost is the player that's playing with their coach. Even if they get their normal player in tomorrow, which I believe they said he's not going to attend the whole tournament. I still don't see that as playing Ghost as a good price because they just look bad, the other 4 players. I mean, they did cover against Avantgarde today, but that was mostly on Avantgarde sort of slowing down. So then I would say there's only one team that's sort of a certain underdog left. It's a team called French Frogs, and they'll play the winner of G2 and Ghost tomorrow. It should be G2, which would mean it's a rematch of the best of 1. If French Frogs is as big of an underdog as they were in the opener today, I will be looking to take French Frogs either to take a map or maybe moneyline if the moneyline's good enough. G2 is their French domestic rivals. These teams know each other, and it's like in your own domestic leagues, even though one team might have a better standard internationally, they might have a better set of awards or results, because they play so regularly locally, there's no intimidation factor, and the players are used to playing even the better players. So they kind of have an edge mentally as well. So French Frogs have played with most of the G2 players and certainly against them many times. So if the price is good enough there, I will be looking to take French Frogs. But all depends on the line, as always. That's the first thing I focus on. Yeah, French Frogs.
French Frogs. I hear so many names from you every time I'm watching the videos when I'm talking with you on Skype, because we're talking a lot. And I wanted to say also about
Alex,
the odds of 1.6.
I was going to add to that. French Frogs, they're not a real organization. So these are players that have just continued playing together, and this is kind of what adds value to them, because you think G2, that's one of the premier esports organizations in the world. They've got millions of dollars backing them. They've got multiple coaches, analysts, psychologists, and then you've got French Frogs who they don't even have a team logo. Okay, so when the public sort of looks at it, they think, oh, easy G2 victory, which is what they did today, and French Frogs won in overtime. So, yeah. So, anyways, what were you going to say next? Sorry.
I was saying about the odds of 1.6, and if you remember, we talked about the odds 2 weeks ago on our usual Skype meetings, weekly Skype meetings, and you were saying that if you think that 1.6 is a valuable odd in that specific match, take it, because it doesn't matter that is very, very small. It still has value, and
Yes.
it still brings you a profit. This is why also you, also me, we are playing many matches. We're betting many matches week in and week out. Me, this season, I have around 1,000 bets on football. I'm around 80 units on profit, which I think that is amazing after a season only in one sport. I know that you're keeping track of all your bets, and I don't know if you had a losing month still this season, which is absolutely amazing for betting on esports, because I think that betting on esports is one of the hardest things to do, because it's most of all you have to look at the screen and see a match of, I don't know, a game. It's not in real life, you know. I know that the players.
My girlfriend calls she calls Dota the ant game, because she's like, I can't understand what's even happening. It's so tiny. Like, what's going on the screen?
Yeah, no, I know also Dota, I know also League of Legends, I know also Counter-Strike. I used to play Counter-Strike, but Dota and League of Legends, I have very good friends that are still playing right now. I have one of my best friends who is still playing Dota and League of Legends at 38, 39, and he's not, he's good, but I don't think that he has a team. He's investing a lot of money in playing these games, and I really don't understand why. But maybe other people don't understand why I have 4 or 5 screens in my home and I'm watching 4 or 5 matches in the same time and betting on them. That's what we do. This is what we are here for, to bring you guys the best value bets and from our sports, and because Adam is very knowledgeable in esports and in hockey, in NHL. He's here week in and week out. What's happening next week? When we will see you next week, and what we are talking about next week?
I think there's always this. I think there's another CSGO LAN coming up next week. Yeah, there's the it's CS Summit. That's what it is in Los Angeles. That one's a small one as well. After that, we've got Dreamhack Masters Dallas. Then we've got a Dota Major next month.
You have next week Dota 2 Epicenter Major, as I see.
I don't think there's anything to bet on. No, I think it's ESL Birmingham. Is that the one you think? ESL Birmingham begins May 28th.
Yeah, and I was looking at your schedule, and I saw Dota 2 Epicenter Major next week, but we will talk after the show about that. Anyway, sure. See you next week for another round of esports bets. Top bets of this day, of many matches I think that are happening also later on.
Yeah, so my 2 for tomorrow, Wendigo to beat Instinct 2-0 at 1.6, and G2 to beat Ghost 2-0 at 1.53. They're heavy favorites, but I still think there's value on there, and you can catch live odds on them. So if they do drop a map or get a spread covered, they're behind early, you can catch them live, which I will be tweeting out if I jump on them.
Awesome stuff. Thank you very much, Adam. Thank you, much appreciated. Every single time we are talking, and see you next week for another round of esports bets. And please check out Adam on Twitter, and check all of us out on Twitter on Odds Market at Odds Market, and see our brilliant articles and many previews, video previews, and so on. Thank you, Adam, once again, and see you next week.
See you later, buddy.